Well, the 31-year-old Hanaho Yamamoto, she's on her run. Ooh. Little difficulty there, right from the start.
Yeah, throwing that step through cork definitely adds another level of difficulty, but she's able to sort of play it off with a little spin. Another full there, dropping down into that ledge. Oh, using the wheel there for a little extra spin on her palm spin. Nice. I love how she's hitting something on every part of this course. Nice big precision over the gap. Coming through with a little bit of flow down onto the main deck here. And a big cast back down onto the main deck. And let's see what she does across the gap here. Nice stride, rolling, finding a little position. Each of these little handholds just showing she's got a nice amount of precision in what she's doing. Using a lot of those hip turns. One of the nice things about that is it really helps push you to look like every single thing you're doing is on purpose, even if you accidentally clips your hip on something.
And really utilizing every single last inch of boat here, and she is going to finish it out. Yamamoto, our first competitor to get going here at Red Bull Art of Motion.
Well, you know, I think one of the cool things about Hanaho is that she's actually a coach herself. So she's training a lot of athletes about how to be smart about things like competition. How do you play to what the judges want to see? How do you play to your own strengths? Ooh, a little bit sketchy on that cork. I know that she's got that move down, but it's definitely a tight spot. It's really hard to see just how little space these athletes have. Here's a better shot of that back full. Just put her hands down just a tiny bit, but I love the use of that steering wheel. It's very smart because I know the judges are gonna like seeing people using stuff like the moving parts of this boat because there are tons of them, and for some people that could definitely slow you down, it could trip you up, but she made it look very smooth, very natural. Coming through with a little DD roll, some classic flow across the box here, up to this nice cast back. In the past, we've seen Hanaho a little bit stiff in some of her runs, but I think she's really been working on connecting things. And look how close she's coming to the mast. It just shows how tight this course is. You really got to know exactly where you are every inch of the way. Good side summy over the gap. Another palm spin and underbar through. Giving a little hip check to the second steering.
The captain's console there. Yamamoto, like we said, utilizing every single part of this boat, showing that creativity. And we want to remind our viewers, possible 500 scores coming in at a 276, so we can anticipate that's going to not nearly hold the weight that she's going to want to stay in those top two spots to get that transfer. 3 heats, 6 competitors in each, and only the top 2 out of each heat will advance to our finals today. So it's all or nothing on these runs.
Yeah, we saw she got dinged pretty hard on her flow there. Even though she was able to keep going most of the time, she definitely slowed down, stopped, started, and that's going to be something the judges are really looking out for, especially Sergio, our flow judge.
So Ellis Torhall expects a lot of himself, but we expect a lot from this run. Watch the intensity.
Nice double flyaway over that gap. This is such a tiny bar. You know, it's a huge strength of his, and he is absolutely making use of it. Nice palm drop down into the gap. Side summy, right into that double cork, very clean. He's upping the level of difficulty, flipping into it. Wow, lazy side. Really nice run so far from Ellis. Side flip over the gap. Pushing through, another side flip over that gap. And a double leg cork out.
Wow. So we
Way
talked
to finish
about
strong.
what he expects of himself. What did you expect from that run, and what did he deliver? Did they meet?
I mean, I've definitely been watching Ellis for years. He's been killing on the youth circuit in Sweden, and a lot of people have been waiting to see what's going to happen when he gets to a big stage like Red Bull Art of Motion, and he absolutely just delivered. This is the run everybody wanted to see. I think we were all just wondering if he was going to live up to all the hype that has been growing around him online since he's been winning a lot of online comps. I mean, look how clean he's hitting this palm drop in, and then the way he sets up for his double cork, he side flips right into it, just a little bit of a stutter, but it definitely ups the level of difficulty that he's not giving himself a big run up into this. He's actually flipping into that gap, setting himself up so nice. Wow, this could be a run that gets him through into the finals.
Relentless with the tempo from start to finish and risking high risk, high reward right from the get-go.
Yeah, I think the biggest question mark about Ellis coming into this is he had such a high level of difficulty in the moves that he's known for, in the stuff he wanted to hit. Everybody was wondering if he was going to be able to deliver, and he absolutely just did.
Well, this being his first major comp, and we were talking about nerves before he was going to get going, but we didn't see any of that, did we?
No, I mean, just a couple stutter steps, which I'm sure he would have loved to clean up, but for his first time ever competing on an international stage like this. Congratulations to this young athlete.
So scores coming in, overall impression 74, execution 81. You want to be in the 8s and above.
Great
Typically coming at
level
78.
of difficulty. A little bit lower on his flow, that's understandable because it wasn't all perfectly connected, and the creativity, yeah, that's understandable. You know, he did a lot of traditional moves, but definitely high level of difficulty ones.
So a chance, but it is going to be tight. We know all these heats, 3 heats, 6 competitors in each, both men and women, and that score coming in will put them on the top for the moment, but look at the names that we have to go through. Josh Malone, Noah, Travis, and Bob, only 2 will advance to the final.
And I think that we're going to see a ton of different styles coming up on here. I'm really curious to see what's going to go on between this next athlete and what he's got on the course. He had probably the least amount of prep time since he was at it at the last minute, but he's always got a smile on his face, always having so much fun. I think that's what happens when you've got your own style.
And expect the unexpected. We talk about his off-axis approach, very creative,
right
just like that.
One of the cool things about Josh is pretty much all of the moves he does, there's almost no name for. I mean, he's doing a back double leg right there. Nice little twisting cartwheel down. Oh, super sketchy gainer right there. Doesn't seem to phase him, but the judges are definitely going to ding him. Very low little side summy over that gap. I love to see these funky moves coming out of Josh. Even the head gainer over the cap just to sit down.
Just a little rocket grab for good measure. Adds such style to it, but unfortunate because he started off strong. It's interesting that one bobble can just set you off your rhythm a little bit.
Absolutely, and I know that Josh really wasn't as prepped for this run as he probably should have been. He was out here more just having fun, but that first move alone, I just love it. It really is just basically a vault to a tic-tac, but he makes it look so cool. He does it in such a weird and interesting place. It always stands out. I mean, he's somebody that you're going to watch and want to watch again and again and again because it's always going to be something you missed. But look at this.
Axis on that. He was almost in McTwist mode.
Yeah,
he really was.
And he's starting to spin one direction and sort of stopping and pushing the other way, and I think it just stopped all of his rotation. I mean, a gnarly move to go for, and he's keeping it so low here too. He's just not giving himself a ton of pop on some of these moves, but he just ekes them out with his twists, those last-minute gyros he pushes through.
But this man Euro now that we're in Greece, so I just want to point that out.
I'm so glad we get another angle. And so look, as he starts his rotation one way and just stops it halfway through. But he turns it into a little roll. I mean, you could almost say
he was channeling some Mike McGill right there. Very cool. As Josh Malone scores coming in for him, as we mentioned, a few bobbles, unfortunately for him. He's unfazed. He's always got that positive attitude, and that's what we love to see. As that final number dropping, overall impression flow, and there's that creativity, 73, so 338 as we inch closer to finishing and wrapping up our first of 3 heats. Next up, Noah Diorgina out of the Netherlands. She's been working with a coach since the tender age of 7, and she has been looking awfully comfortable, awfully focused, taking some really unique approaches to this boat. But big question is she trying to pack in too much in too little of a space?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the thing with Noah. She's so excited to be out here. She's got so much. She's ready to really prove herself at this level. The question is she going to overdo it? I know she's got something sort of planned for each different judge to make sure she ticks all the boxes. But you're right, Pat. Is it going to be too much?
She was first in our women's online qualifier as she is off. Noah on course.
Nice Webster into a backside off the wall, making her way up onto the main platform. Vaulting up here, cartwheel setting up. Very clean 540. Making her way down. Nice little parkour line. Probably trying to favor some of our more efficient-minded judges. And very clean with these flips so far. It almost looked like it's a little stumble, but I am wondering if she kind of planned for that just in case. Coming over the gap, checks her shoes. Ooh, nice, very tight precision wall flip off the mask. Using the rope ladder there, it's very clever. Coming up for her last trick here. Side summy to finish it off. Super strong run from Noah Diorgina.
Yeah, justifiable smile right there. As can we talk about how clean some of those landings were, just stomping with such confidence.
Yeah, I think that I saw her practicing probably twice as many things, and I think they were just options. She really figured out, here's how much I'm ready to do. Here's that Webster right into that wall side. Very nice here. I know she had some other stuff she was thinking about doing, but it looks like she called it off just to get herself set up for everything she wanted to do. Took it a little easy over this part of the course, just setting up this cartwheel, but a very, very nice double A right here. And then chose to turn around here, so she doubled up on this main platform. Probably means she was really favoring this open part, round off Arabian, putting her right in place for this nice palm flip. Her landing looks like she was set up a little bit too soon for that hip roll, but she plays it off very well. You know, she's got a dance background, so I think she can get away with some of these moves in ways that some of our other athletes probably couldn't call it. Not too much of a stop there, but she did check her shoes. I know that mast is actually quite slippery, and with any condensation, she could easily have peeled right off on that precision wall flip. And sets up here for one last side flip over the little gap onto the final platform. That's a great run from
Wow.
Noah.
Well, the 16-year-old, there was concerns about stamina, and she showed no signs of slowing down.
And I think that look on her face
run,
says
yeah.
enough right there. She is thrilled with that run. It's everything she wanted to do. She should be very proud of herself.
And these are some good numbers coming in. It is going to be a close call as we work down to Bob Reese. He'll be the last competitor in the first heat of three. Remember, 6 competitors in each heat. Only the top 2 will advance to the finals. We'll have 6 competitors in our final. And
Great scores so far. And one thing to keep in mind is, although there is a women's division, they do compete as well simultaneously in the overall division. So we can have a female going through into the finals.
there it is.
Great scores from Noah. All the way across. You can see, just like we were saying, she ticked all the boxes. Something for difficulty, something for execution. You know, even overall, she just really packed it all in and made sure she had something for everybody.
So definitely some calculation. You want to be strategic at Red Bull Art of Motion, because you get that one chance and one chance only to make it to the final. It's all or nothing in your run in our first heat. Moving on to second heat and our third heat, then we'll establish our 6 competitor final. So you can see the rest of the competitors. And so we're just waiting for final tabulation as we get ready for our next combustible competitor. Verki will be on deck. Travis Vercake out of the UK.
I'm really looking forward to that run. I mean, Travis is one of the most exciting new athletes in sport. I mean, look at her audience is
Even
stoked
the
right
fans
now.
throwing a flip for support.
But yeah, Verki out of the UK is one of the most explosive new athletes. You know, he's the first person ever to hit double Kong gainer outside. He's been known for these amazing flip precisions, court gaps, huge side flip precisions. I mean, this dude has it all. He's been training with Ed Scott. He's a master of these big moves. We'll see what he's got on course.
3.66, so we have a new leader in the heat. So looking very good for Noah Diergina out of the Netherlands, followed by Ellis Torhall in second. Only 2 more competitors in this heat to go. It'll be Verki, then into Bob Reese. We'll reset, get ready for heat number 2, and then establish our next 2 finalists. So it is a nail biter with each heat, and they've done such a good job at really separating the talent in each heat.
Yeah, I mean, each one of these heats is so stacked. Any one of these could be essentially a finals run, especially when you're looking at the level of difficulty here versus past years. It has obviously been elevated.
So, competitor here, Verki trains with Ed Scott, and you talk about him. He's a best trick threat. Why?
Well, I think Verki is just known for having so many power moves in the bag. The biggest question is he going to go for one of these bangers, or is he going to try to put together a really strong run? Because I know he loves to run, he loves speed. I mean, look at him taking off right off the bat. Nice big jump, plyo up to that punch. Palm flip in here and coming through. Nice Kong gainer off the ladder.
Why?
Very, very cool. Love seeing people use the boat in very creative ways. Inward side stepping up. Big cork over the boat gap. So sketchy, but hits it so clean. And side flips down.
You'd have to get awfully critical. There was maybe just a few slight bobbles here and there, but other than that, I mean, what he threw, talk about the critical factor of what he was sprinkling throughout that run.
Well, I mean, the first move I gotta call out is that Kong gainer off of the ladder. I mean, it's such a sketchy place to throw this. Already it's difficult move. It's one of the most challenging moves out here. I mean, you're doing a vault where you're moving forward and then pulling that backflip in midair off of a railing is already nuts. Now to be doing it with your hands split, you gotta be so precise and on a moving boat. Everything here is more challenging than normal, but he put it together very nicely. Look at that, super clean, vaulting out of it, steps down into that very clean cork. Here's probably one of his only little slip-ups. He does this step inward and then just slips. It looks like he may have caught something on the floor there. I mean, we are on a boat. Things are slippery here. And a great angle on that cork over the gap. Look how much he just stomps it out. One of his signature moves, that cork gap, and then a couple side summies over the top. And he should be very, very proud of that run. I mean, he did everything you'd love to see from Verky. You know, a sketchy Kong gainer setup and a great cork gap. I mean, those are two moves he is definitely known for, and he hit those. I think he should be really proud of himself.
Well, they're definitely not making it easy for the judges. I tell you what, we're just getting underway here within the first heat of 3. Numbers starting to drop, and that's, look at the execution, 83, overall impression 72, and then the difficulty, definitely judges loving what they're seeing. So we'll wait till the final few more numbers. Noah still on top as he was just starting that run. Remember, the top 2 will advance into the finals out of our first heat. But he can definitely be happy, holding his head up high.
And you know, one of the questions we had about Travis going into this is he's an athlete who you know, really pounds the pavement, makes sure he gets it right. He'll go back over and over to a challenge until he hits it to perfection, until he's satisfied. And that's just something you can't do in competition. But he had one shot, he took it, and I think he nailed it.
And to think too that he had to qualify through the on-site qualifier. So let's talk about how long that took and the wear and tear on that earlier in the week.
That on-site qualifier is a grueling process. I mean, first off, you've got a 10-minute long jam. That means you're going for 10 minutes straight, just trying to get the judges' attention. You got 10 athletes out there, so you got to be competing in front of everybody else, with everyone else running across the same course. He made it through that into the finals of the on-site, where he came out on top, winning against some of the top athletes here from the 120 that showed up on-site. And we're talking about former Art of Motion contenders, finalists. I mean, this was no walk in the park. Not to mention, it was boiling out there.
Well, there's good reason why they call him England's young prodigy, because he's showing that he's got the stamina, he's got the trick repertoire, and the ability to push through the nerves. There were so many moments in this run, but this was your favorite.
Yeah, I just love the way he could have done that right next to it on the ledge where he's got a little bit more hand placement, where it's a little bit safer, but he found something that you only find on a course like this, and he put it to good use, and I think the judges are really going to like that.
And this one looked like a huck and hope, but man, he pulled it off.
Yeah, you can see the setup is a little tricky, but I think a good score overall.
He's going to put him right behind Noah, so in a precarious position right now. Verky right on the precipice of moving on to the finals, and Bob Reese will be the last one to have something to say about that. Wow. So now Reese the Beast is about to drop in on his run and talk about, you know, that inventive, that competitive, ultra competitive approach. With Bob Reese, anything is possible. He was talking to us earlier in the week, and he said, you know, I have this newly found strategic approach. He's going to have to get awfully strategic and awfully clean.
Yeah, and you know, Bob is one of our more veteran competitors. He's been at Red Bull Art of Motion before. He's seen this style of course in different competitions across the U.S., around the world, but he's always wanted a spot on that podium, and this could be a shot. Here he goes, toe on, front, very clean in a super tight spot. Look at him using this side of the course, making his way on his side.
Well,
more a fun little experiment there.
He is not afraid to experiment.
Nice vortex side there. That's a 360 into his side with a little chip backflip off of the boom there. Coming across, seated backflip. Very happy to be landing that clean. Oh, that underbar through the ladder.
You have to be kidding me.
Amazing setup from Bob.
Wow.
All right.
Threaded the needle perfectly through the net and the dive across.
What a sketchy setup for that, too, because on so many levels that is difficult. One, he's got a weird angle takeoff. Two, he's got to grab onto a rope ladder, meaning that it's not going to stay exactly where it is. There's other cables, things hanging about. And his landing platform is a very sketchy angled box.
And don't get distracted with that creepy crawler move he did on the back of the, the bow of the boat. But
I think it's cool when you see somebody looking for things that nobody else is going to do.
Yeah.
I think, he started off with a really big banger move on the bar in a really tight spot. This toe on front is perfect here because you don't need a ton of swing on the backside where there's not a lot of room, but it is a tight area to hit. And look at this. At first, everyone's like, is he falling down? No, he's going to just use a different axis of gravity. I wonder if he'll get dinged a little bit for his flow because it was a little bit slower than the rest of his run, but it was certainly an interesting choice here. And Bob is always known for finding sketchy spots and making the most out of them. Here's that 360 to side flip, that vortex side. Coming up here, steps right into this chip back. But you see how he doesn't jump at all. He's just starting with the tuck first and then basically just falling out of that move. Very, very high risk. Even though it looks kind of funny when you see it, it's definitely a tricky one to do. And he puts himself right into this seated backflip, just pushing off the back of his heels. And I like the way he got into it because he actually didn't sacrifice a ton in terms of flow getting into that position. Didn't have to slow down a lot. Oh, and look at that jump. I mean, it's good when the athletes are celebrating as they finish the move.
well, mid-stride, they're claiming, as they should. Are you kidding me?
Look how close he comes to the edge of that box. And here's the thing, these boats are constantly moving, so every time he goes for it, it's a slightly different jump. And a nice twisting cartwheel down onto that side flip. So he's cartwheeling over the gap with that funky little setup. A great run from Bob Reese.
Yeah, he just got his captain's license for the SS Ninja on that. That was rather stealthy, piercing the needle.
And look at the smile on his face. You can tell he's excited about that run. Well, one exciting story we got to say right now, I mean, we are, without a doubt, regardless, we know we're going to see Noah Giorgino making it through into the finals, which is fantastic. But what do we got from Bob here?
Oh, right there. Unbelievable. Bob Reese, the top scorer of the first heat. So, unfortunately for Verity, he gets bumped out. So, Noah Giorgina and Bob Reese will be moving on to the finals. This is huge.
Yeah, I mean, Bob Reese with exactly the kind of run we were expecting from him. Very creative, very strong, well executed. The highlight story of this, though, has got to be Noah Giorgina out of the Netherlands coming through with that 366, putting herself in the finals. Only question for me is, did she plan a second run?
Yeah, good question. Been working with her coach throughout the week, and it's great to see that emotion just on Bob's sleeve there. So we look at our current results after the first heat of 3 and the big story. Noah Giorgina, she moves on. The female competitor along with Bob Reese. Ultra creative, ultra competitive, and I guess he answered the big question. Has he found that strategic approach? Well, obviously he has, as they both look forward to the finals. So your immediate takeaways from our first heat of 3 definitely had us out of our seats a few times, right? There's been some moments already, but we expected that.
Yeah, I mean, Bob was one of my calls from early on, and you can tell with that 395, he absolutely dominated